I begin the video near the intersection of Evergreen, Paul, and Ann Arbor Trail. We're now on our 24th video in my Detroit series where I go through the entire city. That's right, only 4 more left after this one, and I'll finish off the series with a little bit of something for all the Detroit enthusiasts as I'll have a video on Belle Isle. But for now, we're going to keep our business in the hoods. This time, it's the Warrendale neighborhood, and it's mostly a continuation of the decline and abandonment that we've seen throughout most of the residential areas of the city. Although, some streets here are okay, I suppose. Well, really quick, as if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also make sure to hit that notification bell and select yes, so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. Alright, so Warrendale. That is where we are for this video. The boundaries for the Warrendale neighborhood are the Southfield Freeway to the east, Joy Road to the north, and the Detroit city limits to the south and west. Warrendale is situated in the far western area of Detroit, and it actually used to be its own municipality, being called the Village of Warrendale. In the early 1900s, residents of Warrendale voted to be annexed by Detroit so that they could be hooked up to Detroit's water system. And today, despite most of Detroit's residents being black, Warrendale is actually a pretty diverse neighborhood, being about a third white, a third black, and the rest are a mix of Middle Eastern, Asian, Hispanic, and Native American. That's according to Model D Media. Most homes in Warren were built in the 1940s, with the earliest homes that were a part of the original Village of Warrendale being constructed around the turn of the 20th century. And as we continue our stroll along Warren Avenue, you'll see that many of the buildings are still standing, but of the ones that are still standing, about only half of them are occupied as of today. Warrendale is one of Detroit's largest neighborhoods by both land area and population. The older parts of Detroit are more so centered around the Detroit River, while the older parts out here were annexed by the city later on, and they were more of a suburban development at the time. But most of Detroit's neighborhoods are really small, and sometimes they'll consist of only one long street, or maybe a set of 2 or 3 long streets that parallel each other. Unlike most other large cities in the US, Detroit doesn't have a clear-cut organized layout of neighborhoods. If you look at New Orleans, just about everywhere that you go is referred to by the neighborhood that it's in. Whereas in Detroit, that's not really the case, as the most notable Detroit neighborhoods are just kind of randomly spread out throughout the city. And oftentimes in Detroit, when referring to an area, people will just give the name of an intersection, such as Warren and Southfield. And it's easier to do it that way since the Metro Detroit area is laid out in a way where there's a major road every mile in either cardinal direction. Warrendale at times in the past was called Copper Canyon. It was a middle-class community up until the late 90s, and most of the residents had a middle-class income. Today, not so much. The population of Warrendale is 22,000 and the median household income is $34,000 per year. 13% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $41,000, so you can see that the economic stats are about the same as the average Detroit neighborhood. When it comes to crime rates, Warrendale sees slightly less than the average violent crime rate than what the typical Detroit neighborhood sees, yet it's still over 4 times the national average rate. On the other hand, the property crime rate comes in higher than the Detroit average. Public schools are rated as a D+ because it's Detroit Public Schools, which are some of the worst rated schools in the nation, and have been for a long time. So that's no surprise. And the Area Vibes livability score is 55 out of 100, which is about the same for most Detroit neighborhoods. And this is just a neighborhood side street that parallels the Southfield Freeway, which is only 1 block to the east. But throughout this neighborhood, certain spots like right here won't look too bad, while others will be full of blighted properties and vacant lots. Warrendale is a part of the larger 48224 zip code, and you can see here that it stretches as far east as Myers Road and as far north as I-96. This zip code is home to 57,000 people, and the median household income is $31,000 per year. 11% of adults 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and the median value of owner-occupied housing units is $39,000, while the poverty rate is 39%. People say that the reason why this neighborhood declined, once again, is due to the fact that there was a high concentration of Detroit's police officers who used to live in Warrendale. In 1999, however, the state got rid of the residency requirements for municipal employees, so that meant that you could be a municipal employee for Detroit and live outside of the city limits. So once that happened, police officers fled and the crime rates soared in Warrendale throughout the early 2000s, and the residents started to leave too. That meant that eventually there was going to be a higher amount of abandoned homes throughout the neighborhood than what there used to be. Drug dealers often come and squat in these abandoned homes, and since it's Detroit, many of the empty homes would be scrapped for anything valuable for criminals to make a profit on, not to mention arson activity, as Detroit has long been the leading major U.S. city for arsons per capita. Devil's Night is the night before Halloween, and for many years, it was a major problem in the city as neighborhoods would go up in flames throughout a collective effort of criminals throughout the city. It's been seen as a quote-unquote celebration during the night before Halloween. In recent years, however, Devil's Night has not been near as big as it once was during its peak in the late 1980s and throughout the 90s. For comparison, only 6 teenagers were arrested on the night of October 30th, 2017, and that's in comparison to hundreds, if not thousands, being arrested on the different Devil's Nights throughout the 1980s. So at least that's been calming down some, and hopefully it continues to be less of a thing, and hopefully the city is able to continue demolishing all of their abandoned buildings. I'll be honest, the majority of this neighborhood isn't so bad, at least when you compare it to Detroit standards, but when you see some other parts of the neighborhood later in the video, you'll see more abandonment. Within the last 10 years or so, Detroit has been putting in a lot of effort in putting in speed bumps in many of their neighborhoods to prevent people from driving fast down them, because Detroit's had a big problem for a long time of drivers speeding down these residential side streets where there's a bunch of homes and sometimes kids playing out in the street. So that's the reason for all of these speed bumps that you see here. And as time goes on, these speed bumps are probably going to be even more present throughout Detroit's neighborhoods. You won't see it along Warren Avenue because at the time of me filming this video, Warren Avenue was being torn up for construction, but you'll see it on a lot of Detroit's main thoroughfares at the intersections with others. So let's say Livernois and Joy Road maybe. You'll see burnout marks in the middle of these intersections because during the summer nights, there's a lot of car meetups and they'll block off traffic so that they can do these burnouts and perform for all their friends. That's also been a big problem throughout Detroit, and you'll see it sometimes in the residential neighborhoods too. By the way, we're not very far from the cities of Dearborn and Dearborn Heights, with Dearborn Heights being to the west and the city of Dearborn being to the south. And the cities of Dearborn and Dearborn Heights have both a high concentration of Arab Americans, and that's the reason for the high population in this neighborhood of that ethnicity as well. Up ahead, you'll see that the street is blocked, and that's because school was just about to be let out. And up there is the Warrendale Charter Academy, along with the Saints Peter and Paul Roman Catholic Church. And now I'm just on the other side of the school as I head north. And to the left here is a large vacant field, and whenever you see these throughout these residential neighborhoods of Detroit, you have to wonder if a school used to stand there, because a lot of the times, that is the case. To the left, behind the row of trees, is Rouge Park, which is a Detroit City park that extends along both sides of the Rouge River. It's Detroit's largest park, and many sites claim that it's one of the largest city parks in the country. Although, a quick search on that shows that it's only the 89th biggest park. So yeah, that's not true. Don't always believe local media when they claim to be one of the best of anything, people. If you want to see and hear more about Rouge Park, however, make sure to check out my second channel, where I will upload all of the lost footage that I filmed from this area of the city, and I'll talk more about Rouge Park there. The link for my second channel is down below. And for the rest of this video, we'll be seeing what the stretch of Joy Road looks like through Warrendale. Alright, and I do end the video here. Once again, to see all of the footage that I filmed to make this video but didn't include in the video, make sure to check out my second channel, which is linked down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, as doing all of those things helps these videos destroy the evil monster that is the YouTube algorithm. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell and select yes, so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. If you enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy checking out some of the featured playlists on this channel. Videos with amazing insights on other places like what you saw here can be found in my Detroit playlist, my American Hoods playlist, or in my Michigan playlist. Last but not least, if you can't get enough of me on here, you can always go follow me on my other social media accounts, and those links are below. We'll see you next time. Peace!